The orphanage, nestled on the dusty outskirts of Ouagadougou, was a place of stark realities and quiet resilience. Among its many residents was 11-year-old Amina, a girl whose eyes held a wisdom far beyond her years, a reflection of the hardships she had witnessed since her parents vanished during a distant, brutal insurgency. Amina lived in a world of hand-me-down clothes, meager meals, and dreams pieced together from whispered stories and the occasional worn-out book. Her most cherished possession was a crudely drawn map of Burkina Faso, tracing the long, hopeful path to stability she imagined for her homeland. One sweltering afternoon, a buzz rippled through the orphanage. Not the usual excitement of a new shipment of donated clothes or a rare sweet treat, but something far more extraordinary. A delegation had arrived, not from a local charity, but from a vast, gleaming global foundation. Its patron, Elon Musk. The name itself was a whisper of unimaginable wealth, of rockets soaring to Mars, of electric cars gliding silently through futuristic cities. Musk, in a rare philanthropic foray into the Sahel, had decided to adopt a high-profile, symbolic initiative, offering a full scholarship, including guardianship and relocation, to one deserving Burkinabe orphan. The chosen child would be whisked away to an elite boarding school in Switzerland, then on to university in the United States, their future secured, their past left behind. The orphanage director, a kind but world-weary woman named Madame Cisse, gathered the children. Her voice trembled with a mixture of awe and trepidation as she explained the incredible opportunity. "It's a chance, children," she said, her gaze sweeping over their hopeful faces, "to transcend everything you've known. To live a life of comfort, of knowledge, a future many can only dream of." She explained that the choice would be made after a series of interviews and observations, culminating in a final, personal meeting with representatives of Musk's foundation. Amina listened, her small hands clutching her worn map. Other children, wide-eyed, immediately began to fantasize. Switzerland, America, unlimited food, new clothes. The concept of a life beyond the orphanage walls, beyond the dust and the struggle, was almost too dazzling to comprehend. Amina, too, felt the pull, a flicker of what a life without hunger, without fear, might be like. She imagined crisp white sheets, endless books, and perhaps even knowing what her parents' fate had been, something that an international foundation might be able to discover. The selection process was rigorous. Children were assessed not just on intelligence, but on adaptability, resilience, and their ability to integrate into a completely different environment. Amina, with her quiet intelligence, her unwavering focus despite her circumstances, and her surprisingly articulate responses during interviews, quickly became a front-runner. She spoke of her yearning for education, not just for herself, but to return and help rebuild her country. This impressed the foundation representatives, who saw in her a potential future leader, albeit one molded in their image. Finally, the day came for the last interview. Amina sat before a panel of impeccably dressed foreign delegates. They spoke of the sprawling campuses, the vast libraries, the technological marvels awaiting her. They painted a picture of a future free from worry, a life of endless opportunity. Amina, one delegate, a woman with a reassuring smile, said gently, "This is your chance for a new life. A life far removed from the difficulties here. A chance to become anything you wish, to impact the world." Amina nodded, her heart aflutter. The promise was intoxicating. A new life. A different life. No more dust, no more hunger, no more the gnawing uncertainty of a nation perpetually struggling. "We just have one final, simple request," the delegate continued, her smile unwavering. "As a gesture of good faith and to ensure your full commitment to this new path, we would like you to make a short public statement. A statement expressing your excitement for your new future, and perhaps a small acknowledgement of your readiness to embrace a truly global, modern perspective, letting go of certain traditional attachments that might hinder your progress." The words were veiled, but the meaning was clear, a gentle severance from her Burkinabe roots, a symbolic embrace of the new. Amina's bright eyes, which had glowed with excitement, flickered. Her gaze fell, almost instinctively, to the worn map tucked under her arm. The dust, the hunger, the struggle, those were not abstract concepts to her. They were the very fabric of her being, the collective experience of her people. Simultaneously, Captain Ibrahim Traoré was facing his own set of challenges. The audacious anthem shutdown at Diddy's concert had sent shockwaves, solidifying his image as a fierce, unapologetic Pan-Africanist leader. Yet, with every bold move, the external pressures mounted. Economic sanctions tightened, diplomatic overtures from Western powers grew colder, and insidious attempts at destabilization continued. Traoré knew his legitimacy hinged not just on grand gestures but on tangible progress, on proving to his people that his vision for a sovereign, prosperous Burkina Faso was more than just rhetoric. His anti-corruption drive continued relentlessly, exposing long-standing networks of graft that had bled the nation dry. He was pushing for localized solutions to security challenges, arming and training civilian volunteers, and mobilizing resources for agricultural self-sufficiency. Every day was a battle, not just against insurgents, but against systemic poverty and the lingering shadows of colonial exploitation. One day, as he reviewed intelligence reports and proposed agricultural reforms, his chief of staff, Colonel Diallo, entered with a slightly unusual request. "Mr. President," Diallo began, "there's an appeal from Madame Cissé, director of the Ouagadougou orphanage. She's concerned about the Elon Musk Foundation's scholarship offer." He explained the details, the incredible opportunity, and the subtle, unspoken expectation of the foundation for a severance from Burkinabe identity. Amina, a remarkable child, is the chosen one. Madame Cissé fears the implied condition could be damaging to her spirit and potentially to the perception of our nation's children on the global stage. Traoré listened, his expression unreadable. He had heard of the Musk initiative, dismissing it initially as another superficial, albeit well-funded, Western intervention that often did more to assuage foreign consciences than truly empower African communities. But the detail about the public statement, the subtle pressure to let go of traditional attachments, caught his attention. It was a familiar tactic, a soft form of cultural colonization, the seduction of comfort for the price of identity. "Bring me Amina," Traoré said, his voice quiet but firm. "And Madame Cissé. I wish to speak with them directly." The request was unprecedented. A head of state, amidst monumental national challenges, asking to meet an orphan girl over a scholarship. Colonel Diallo understood the significance. This wasn't about the scholarship itself. It was about a symbolic battle for the heart and soul of a young Burkinabe, a proxy for the nation's struggle for self-determination. Amina stood before Captain Traoré, her small frame dwarfed by the austere government office, so different from Diddy's opulent suite, yet filled with an undeniable sense of purpose. Madame Cissé stood beside her, a hand gently on Amina's shoulder. Traoré, in his simple fatigues, seemed to radiate a quiet, intense energy. He didn't speak with the grand pronouncements of a politician, but with the directness of a soldier. "Amina," he began, his voice calm, his eyes piercing but kind. "I am told you have been offered a great opportunity. A chance to go far away, to learn much." Amina nodded, her voice barely a whisper. "Yes, Mr. President. To Switzerland, then America. For school." "And what do they ask of you in return?" Traoré asked, his gaze unwavering. "Beyond your studies, what else do they ask you to leave behind?" Amina hesitated, her gaze dropping to her worn map. She felt the weight of the implied demand, the silent contract to shed her roots. "They want me to embrace a global perspective," she murmured, then added, almost inaudibly, "to let go of traditional attachments." Traoré leaned forward slightly. "Amina," he said, his voice softening, "do you know why I wear these clothes?" He gestured to his military fatigues. "Not for comfort, not for show, but because they remind me and all who see me that I am a soldier for Burkina Faso. That my first duty is to our nation, to our people, to our soil, our history, our future." He continued, his voice taking on a deeper, more resonant tone. "They promise you knowledge, comfort. These are good things. But true knowledge, Amina, also comes from knowing who you are. From understanding where you come from. from carrying the stories of your parents, your ancestors, in your heart, even when they are not physically present. He pointed to her map. You carry Burkina Faso with you, even now. This land, these people, they are your strength. Will they teach you in Switzerland how to make our land fertile again? Will they teach you in America how to build schools here, in our villages, with our own hands? Will they teach you how to heal our people, who have suffered so much, with remedies from our own soil? Amina looked up, her eyes wide. No, they hadn't mentioned that. They had spoken of abstract global impact, not the concrete, deeply personal needs of her homeland. Traoré continued, his voice gaining momentum. They want you to let go of traditional attachments. What are these attachments, Amina? Are they not the stories of your grandparents, who tilled this earth? Are they not the melodies of our griots, telling of our kings and queens? Are they not the vibrant patterns of our fabrics, woven with the wisdom of generations? Are they not the communal spirit, the sense of family that holds us together even in hardship? He paused, his gaze sweeping over her, a profound sadness mixed with resolute determination in his eyes. They offer you a life of comfort, away from our dust. But Amina, this dust is our dust. It is the dust of our ancestors. It feeds our crops. It holds our history. When our people cry, their tears fall on this dust. When they rejoice, they dance on this dust. It is part of us. To truly lead, to truly serve, one must never forget the dust from which they came, or the people who live within it. He didn't explicitly tell her to reject the scholarship. He simply laid out the profound, almost spiritual, cost of accepting it under the implied conditions. He spoke of the heavy responsibility that came with knowledge, of the moral imperative to use one's privilege not to escape, but to uplift. Amina, Traoré concluded, his voice soft again, but firm as bedrock. The choice is yours. Go learn, grow. But remember this, Burkina Faso needs its children. It needs its knowledge, its spirit, its pride, right here, where it is most needed. Our future is not in escaping our reality, but in transforming it, with our own hands, with our own hearts, informed by who we truly are. He rose from his desk, a gesture of respect for her agency, for her difficult decision. Think on this. And whatever you choose, know that your nation sees you. And your choices will speak for more than just yourself. Amina stood transfixed. The words of the Foundation delegates, once so glittering, now seemed hollow, almost sterile, compared to the raw, pulsating truth of Traoré's message. They had offered her a future. He had offered her a purpose. They had promised her escape. He had called her to belonging. The delegates from the Elon Musk Foundation waited, confident of Amina's choice. They had arranged a small, private press conference to announce the scholarship recipient, a moment of global goodwill and positive PR for their patron, carefully choreographed to show a young African face embracing a modern future. Amina walked into the room, her small figure seemingly fragile, yet radiating an undeniable resolve. The cameras flashed. The delegates smiled, ready for their triumphant announcement. Amina, the lead delegate beamed, microphone in hand. Are you ready to share your excitement about this incredible opportunity? Amina took a deep breath. She clutched her worn map, her fingers tracing the faint lines of her homeland. She looked at the cameras, then past them, as if addressing the entire world. Her voice, though still soft, carried an unexpected strength, a quiet echo of Traoré's conviction. I am grateful, Amina began, her words deliberate, for the kindness of Mr. Musk and his foundation. The offer of knowledge, of comfort, is a great one. The delegates exchanged pleased glances. Perfect. But Amina wasn't finished. However, she continued, and the smile on the lead delegate's face faltered, my heart tells me a different path. My president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, has shown me what true strength means. He has taught me that knowledge is not just for oneself, but for one's people. He has shown me that dignity is in never forgetting where you come from, even when others tell you to let go. Her voice trembled slightly, then steadied. They ask me to let go of my traditional attachments. But these attachments are my strength. They are my ancestors, my history, my people. They are the dust of Burkina Faso, and I will not, forget it. My president has taught me that this dust is sacred. Tears welled in her eyes, not tears of sadness, but of fierce, quiet conviction. Burkina Faso needs its children. It needs our hands to build, our minds to learn, our hearts to heal, right here. My future is not in escaping its dust, but in transforming it, with my own hands, with the wisdom of my people. I choose to stay. I choose to learn here, to serve here, alongside my president, for my nation. She paused, then looked directly into the camera, a tear finally tracing a path down her cheek. My reason is simple. My parents loved this land. My president loves this land. And I, Amina, love this land. I will not leave the dust of my ancestors. The room was stunned into absolute silence. The delegates' faces were a mixture of shock, confusion, and thinly veiled anger. The carefully choreographed PR event had just imploded. Their gesture of benevolence had been turned into a powerful statement of national pride and defiance. The silence lasted for several long seconds, broken only by the click of camera shutters from a few alert photographers who sensed the magnitude of the moment. Amina stood there, small but unyielding, a child who had chosen her nation over a life of unimaginable privilege. Her quiet refusal was a thunderclap, a profound rebuke to the notion that every African child yearned for Western escape, and a powerful testament to the influence of Captain Traoré's uncompromising vision. Her tears, genuine and heartfelt, were not of regret, but of a profound, deeply felt belonging. The news of Amina's choice spread like wildfire, far eclipsing Diddy's concert humiliation. Orphan girl chooses Burkina Faso over billionaires' millions, her reason will make you cry, screamed headlines across Africa and the global south. The story was picked up by independent media, human rights organizations, and passionate Pan-Africanist movements. It wasn't just a local incident, it became a global symbol of an awakened consciousness. Elon Musk's foundation scrambled to manage the fallout. They issued a statement expressing regret that Amina had declined the scholarship, emphasizing their continued commitment to global education. But the narrative had already been seized. Amina's brave, tearful declaration had resonated with millions, laying bare the subtle condescension often hidden within seemingly philanthropic gestures. It revealed the implicit demand for cultural assimilation that often accompanied Western aid. For Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Amina's choice was a monumental victory, far more significant than any military conquest. It was a victory of spirit, a testament to the power of his message and his unwavering commitment to his people. He had touched the heart of a child, and through her, ignited a flame of national pride that burned brighter than any foreign billions. Traoré invited Amina to be tutored directly by educators appointed by the presidency, ensuring she received the best possible education within Burkina Faso, a living embodiment of his commitment to homegrown solutions. Her story became a rallying cry for self-reliance, a symbol of Burkina Faso's refusal to be defined or bought by external forces. Amina, the orphan girl, became a reluctant national heroine. Her face, once a symbol of vulnerability, became a symbol of strength and defiance. Her words, so simple yet so profound, articulated the deep yearning for self-determination that resonated across a continent tired of being told its worth lay in what it could sell or what it could receive. Her reason indeed made many cry. Not for her lost opportunity, but for the profound beauty of her choice. It was a tear for the dignity of a young soul who understood, better than any billionaire, the true meaning of wealth, the invaluable, unbreakable bond with one's land, one's history, and one's people. It was a powerful testament to the enduring spirit of Burkina Faso and the unwavering leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, who cultivated a sense of pride so deep, even the most glittering foreign offer couldn't sway it. Amina's choice wasn't a rejection of education, but a profound redefinition of its purpose, to uplift her own, from within.